Oh, really? You're
invested. You
going the
ready to do this?
morality route.
I
I
am.
kind of like the
I'm having.
morality route. Yeah, I like it.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to set a trap for you, and then I'm gonna bring it back at the end and try to catch you in the trap of your own logic. Let's see if I can do it. I am wondering if you look at
I
stocks
hate the
like
fact that you just said
Lockheed.
that. I wish you would just
I know.
set the trap.
I'm playing 4D chess here because now I'm gonna make you second guess while you're giving the answer, all of your answers.
Okay.
So if you look at stocks like Lockheed Martin, LMT, even Raytheon, Boeing to a certain extent is starting to rally here a little bit. The defense trade for the last couple of weeks as we've seen geopolitical escalation for various reasons, not just because the escalation, but also because, some fundamental factors. You could make an argument that crude oil over the last couple of days has a lot of geopolitical premium built into it.
Sure.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, Tom. I don't necessarily want more war in the world, but there are realities, right? There are realities that we are moving into a less of a world of cooperation, and more into a world of competition. And so I find myself holding some of these defense stocks, Tom, and I find some of them doing well in a time where we're seeing situations where a fellow man is enduring very difficult circumstances. And I don't know how to feel about that, Tom. And in a world where it seems ESG investing sort of was hot for 5, 10 years, and maybe there's a reversal in that sort of theme, I wonder, what does Tom Sosnoff think? Do you have to check morality at the door when it comes to participating in markets? Do I need to check my conscience at the door when it comes to participating in markets? Or should I, in good conscience, if I don't want to see war or strife in the world, I shouldn't put my money towards things like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and other defense stocks? What do you think? If you're talking to an 18-year-old, you're talking to me. What do you tell a new investor to do with their conscience and the morality when it comes to markets, Tom?
Okay. I think you're going to think I'm going to cop out on this a little bit, but I'm not. I have no problem. I'm very much an anti-war person, but I have no problem buying defense stocks, and I have no problem investing in companies that build, any kind of material for war. I look at it as just it's another investment. If I feel like the company's cheap, or the expected move is great, or the options are liquid, whatever it is, the same criteria applies for me for most of those cases. There are situations where there are a few companies that I will not trade. I don't know if I'm going to call it that much of a morality clause, because I'm not a real big fan of like the concept of morality clauses, but there are definitely companies that I won't trade for personal reasons. Either I've had a bad experience with them, so I refuse to have anything to do with those companies. Like American Express comes to mind, and there's a few other companies like that I will never trade. Maybe I had a bad experience in it, maybe I lost some money in it, whatever it is. There are definitely companies I've had bad personal experience with, or something else, that I won't trade. There are also some companies which I feel like I have no motivation to ever trade them, because I feel that there are situations where I feel that they've tried to play by a different set of rules, and I have no respect for those companies, so I don't want to root for them. Like companies that have left the US to avoid paying taxes here. I don't think me refusing to invest in Wells Fargo has anything to do with a morality clause. I just think they're not worthy of me betting on them long term. I feel the same way about Halliburton. I feel the same way about a bunch of other companies that, either for personal reasons or for just because I just don't like their ethics, I won't invest in them. But I don't have this morality clause. Like, I won't, just because I don't want us to go to war, I will definitely invest in a defense stock. That's not an issue for me. I mean, I will even invest in companies where the person that runs that company, or I'll trade those companies. I don't like that person. I will even, trade those companies. So I'm not opposed to being indifferent in that regard. So I don't think it's really a true morality clause. I'm also not a big fan of the concept of morality clauses, because there's so much subjectivity with respect to morality. What you might think is something that violates a morality clause, might not even bother me. The answer to your question is no. I am not an ESGer. I'm not somebody that invests based on what I think how you're defining morality. But there are definitely certain companies where I don't like their ethics, and I think the integrity that they have displayed puts the rest of market integrity at risk, and therefore I ignore those companies.
So let me ask the question a slightly different way. Do you believe that changes in consumer behavior can make a political outcome? So let's say, the Montgomery bus boycotts is an example of creating financial pain in order to change our circumstances. Do you believe the consumer has the power with their consumption choices to change outcomes? And then if you do believe that, do you believe investors can actually change anything by changing their investing, like individual investors? Or do you believe there's too much alpha, too much competition on the investing side to have a material impact, whereas you can make change through consumption? What do you think?
I do believe you can make change through consumption. I do believe that investors and that the public have the ability to make change if they believe in something or enough people believe that it's valid. Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, of course, we've seen it throughout history. I think that's fair.
But you don't think people can make an impact on the investing side? You can make change through consumption, but you don't think you can make change through investing?
I think you may be able to make change through investing, but I think it's difficult. I think it's more difficult than people realize. Like, let's say you don't believe in something and you're really opposed to them. It is very difficult to take like a short position for that reason and that reason only. I would
Hmm.
rather avoid that underlying. I would never invest in Wells Fargo, or I would never invest, let's say, in Morgan Stanley for whatever reason. It doesn't matter my reasons, but I'm not shorting either stock just because I don't
So
like some company. It doesn't mean I'm going to go out and short their stock. I'm just not going to ever invest in them.
And now here's where the trap comes, okay? And I don't want to go too political with this, okay?
Okay, it's
So
fine.
if you don't believe in morality clauses in
Sure.
investing, what do you think about the waitress who hears a politician who says, a politician says, I'm not going to tax you on tipped wages, and that it will have a meaningful impact on their life, but they don't agree with the morality of the politician it's coming from, or the senior citizen who hears a politician tell them they're not going to tax their social security, which will have a meaningful difference in their day-to-day life, but they don't agree with the morality of the politician it's coming from. If you should check your morality clause at the door when it comes to investing, do you think some people should think through that lens when it comes to politicians' promises as well?
No, I don't think anybody should. I think if you believe that the morality of that politician is flawed, and you believe that that politician is an unethical, or is a liar, or is a just a truly disgusting human, then you might be totally fine with the fact that you're a waitress and they're not going to tax you if that politician wins. But you don't have to vote for that person, nor should you ever even consider it. Just because they're saying something doesn't actually mean anything. You can like whatever the policy is, but you can't sell your soul for a couple of dollars. Like this happens all the
Mhm.
time. I think I brought it up this morning for myself. There is a chance that depending on the party that wins the election in November, one party might get rid of Gensler and the other party, yeah, one party will for sure, and the other party may or may not. And would I vote, even though I can't stand him and he hurts our business, would I vote for the party that I have no respect for just because there's one little aspect that's going to help our business? And the answer is never in a million years. I'm not a sellout. Never. I would never do that. And I don't think anybody else should. You can support different things. Like lots of there are lots of aspects of different platforms that I support. Listen, we're all free market capitalists. There's different things that you're going to believe in from different platforms. There's no way you're going to say, like, I am not a straight down the line everything that a certain platform says I believe in, or the other way around. There's definitely things on both platforms that I like and I don't like, but you
Mhm.
ultimately have to believe in the person that is delivering that, and you have to believe that that person is genuine, and you have to believe that that person is ethical, and that person is trustworthy, and that person is somebody that you want to get behind before you can vote for them. So the answer is, of course, I would never ever vote for somebody in that case.
I'll tell you how I got to this, to wanting to ask you these questions. I was thinking,
You
I
think
think
Elon?
yesterday,
I know how you
last
got
night.
there. You're wondering.
No, no, no,
It's not an
no,
Elon thing. Okay,
no,
I thought it was Elon thing.
no. It's not Elon at all. No,
Okay.
it was sort of a roundabout way. So the thought was, people keep talking about our low global birth rates, I've been doing some research around sort of the drop in male testosterone, 1 to 2% annually for like, 4 or 5 decades now. And so my thought was, well, what's the logical investment opportunity from that? And I started thinking about fertility drugs, right? So PGNY, there's a handful of others. I had a good
Sure.
conversation with people on Twitter.
Sure.
And my thought was, as a younger person, maybe in my early 20s, I would have taken that energy and I would have gone out to the streets and maybe protested things that are disrupting our endocrine system, some sort of environmental thing. And in my late 30s, I find myself thinking, well, this is an eventuality. So the energy is better used buying the companies that will help people to solve these problems through increasing fertility and the endocrine disrupting aspect of this. I don't have the energy anymore. And so I thought to myself, is that a change in morality that perhaps I would have tried to change the cause in my younger 20s, and then my late 30s I'm sort of investing in solutions. And I don't know, I sort of question my morality in a certain way.
And
That
that
you know what I'm
is,
saying? Like, I'm questioning my morality.
and that's fair. And that's fair. And I think either of those would be reasonable. I think one of the things I learned early just from, my parents and my grandparents was you have to go with what you believe in, and you can't sell out for anything. You just cannot sell out to somebody just because there's something in there's something in there's something that they say that you like, that's it. But you don't like the person, no way. And I don't think you can do that in any aspect of your life, whether you're hiring somebody, whether it's a CEO, whatever it is. I don't think you can do it. I think you have to be very careful that you don't go down that path. I think it's fine I can't stand people that believe, hey, everything that this person says is right, or everything that this platform says is correct, or everything this person does is perfect. That's garbage too, because there's always going to be lots of different things that you believe in from many different angles. How much of it's real or fake or politicized, I don't know. But in the end, you're always betting on the person, whether it's a business, whether it's politics, whether it's, whatever it is, sports, whatever it is. Like, we see it everywhere. We see it in sports all the time. We're like, wow, this guy's an amazing athlete, or this person's an amazing athlete. But they're such a dick, you know what? And it always comes out, and they ruin it, and they spoil the fact that they're an amazing athlete. We see it all the time with CEOs. This person's brilliant, and then they do something that's like incredibly stupid. Or we see with politicians, they are incredibly stupid, and then we find, oh, they had one good idea. Like, it's all the same stuff.
Could I make the case that every person is a collection of good and bad actions, and that when we heroize some of these figures, it's inevitable that the good actions that we sort of put on a pedestal are going to get knocked down when their bad actions are exposed. But it's everybody in their everyday lives. And so I wonder, can good policy come from bad people? You go back at who passed the Civil Rights Act. Lyndon B. Johnson, was he, are there things about his attitude towards racial relations in the country that are negative? Probably. But is the Civil Rights Act on balance positive change or negative change? So I do hear you, and I don't think you want to sell out. And I also think that sometimes good policy can come from bad people.
Good policy can come from bad people. Good kids can come from bad parents. Bad kids can come from good parents. And bad policy can come from good people too. So bad people can have good policy, and good people can have bad policies, and no question. And that's why the bet, when there's money at stake, and this, I think, this is how efficient markets play into this. When there is money at stake, the money always bets on the person. Money never bets on an idea or a concept or anything else. Money always bets on the person. You ultimately have to follow the money, and the money bet is always on the person. It's never on, the idea or anything else. It just can't be. And again, that is, in the end, you have to follow where the money is. That's why like private equity firms, they don't bet on ideas. They bet on people. And
I
that,
would, I would 100% disagree with you.
oh, you're
Okay, Ken
crazy.
Griffin left
You can't
Hold on,
even,
hold
you
on.
can't even disagree.
I
You
don't think
cannot disagree with that.
I don't I I don't even think big money cares about the person at all.
You're
Ken Griffin
crazy.
moved from
You're crazy.
Chicago. He moved from Chicago to Miami, Florida,
Who are
and
you
a few
talking
months
about?
later, Ken Griffin, he moved to Florida. A few months later, Ron DeSantis is running for president, and his biggest backer is Ken Griffin. And I could make an argument that a big part of that is trying to shield from the wealth tax. And Ken Griffin, he pushes and pushes and pushes him, and it's obvious that the voters are not going to adopt Ron DeSantis. And next thing you know, his money is now behind Nikki Haley. He, the people don't. These money does not care about a
Oh, these are
person.
two
They care about
completely,
policies, and they're willing to use
you
people
are,
to put
you
them in the
are,
positions for
you
the
are
idea.
mixing and matching two very different things. There is, when you're trying to buy political favors, it is very different. Buying political favor, when you're buying something, that's different. But when you are investing in something, I'm not talking about investing in a political candidate. Listen, Ken Griffin's done a lot of things that are amazing as far as, philanthropy, as far as other things like that, as far as building an incredible business and all that kind of stuff. He's also made some incredibly stupid political choices over the years, starting in who he's backed for governor in Illinois and mayor and everything. I mean, every single person he's backed, going back as far as I can remember in Illinois, every person's lost. Like, he can't buy his way into anything, but he doesn't seem to care because everything else he does has been amazing.
Fair enough.